Boston Globe Patriots writer Ben Volin. Ben, let's start with our poll question. Was last night's Super Bowl a good game?
No. Well, it was a good game. It wasn't an entertaining game, I guess is how I would answer that question. It's like two different things. I thought the defenses were excellent. I think you have to give a lot of credit to both sides. Aaron Donald and Ndamukong Suh and that Rams defensive front, they were phenomenal. They're getting off the ball and beating a very good Patriots offensive line for much of the night. And then the Patriots defense, what can you say? They just, took down the number 2 offense and held them to 3 points and completely, neutralized one of the best offenses all year. So I think it was a good game, just maybe not the most entertaining game.
Ben, who gets credit for the Patriots defense? We were discussing it here. They have defensive coaches. They have Brian Flores, who is the, interim defensive coordinator, and he's moving on. Is it basically Bill Belichick running that defense day-to-day, moment-to-moment, adjustment by adjustment? No,
I would say it's definitely Flores. He was the defensive coordinator. They were just, they do that sometimes with the titles. Like in Matt Patricia's first year, he didn't technically have the title either of defensive coordinator. But Flores is the one leading the defense, putting the game plan together from all his assistant coaches, teaching it to the room. He was the one who stood up and took ownership of that disastrous play in Miami, which wasn't really his fault, but he's the one who stood up and said, I'm the leader of this unit. And Belichick is more of like the big picture guy, like, our defense isn't getting home. Let's start sending more blitzes and things of that nature. And, Belichick does work closely with the defensive line a lot. You'll see him on the sideline coaching those guys up. So it's definitely, it's not total autonomy for Brian Flores, but it would be doing him a disservice to give all the credit to Belichick. I think Flores is the one who dialed up all those blitzes last night. They're the ones who came up with some of the creative coverage schemes. But, ultimately, Belichick is kind of overseeing the whole thing, too.
Ben, there's a lot of speculation about Rob Gronkowski's future and what it holds, and if he'll be back for another season. What role do you think Tom Brady plays in making sure Gronk returns for another year?
Yeah, I don't know if Brady's going to stick his nose too much in Gronk's business. I think if Gronk retires, it's because, he's beat up. It's been a long 9-year career for him, taking a lot of hits, a lot of surgeries. He's reportedly dealing once again with a bulging disc in his back, which is something he's already had surgery on 3 different times in his career, and it's probably only a matter of time before he has a 4th surgery. So if Gronk says, that's it, I'm done, I'm walking away while I can, I don't think anyone would blame him, even Tom Brady. But, we'll see. I don't think he's not the same Gronk, but he's still a productive player for them. He played all 72 snaps last night. He played all 97 snaps in the AFC Championship game, still a very good blocker. He's got a $10 million salary next year. I don't think the Patriots are going to want him back at that number, but maybe they say, look, we'll give you a $5 million salary and we'll throw in some incentives as well. Or does Gronk look at that and say, well, maybe I can suck it up for one more year because that is still pretty good money. So, unless he's just done, which is very possible. He might know he's done, and that's why he was all loosey-goosey this week and having so much fun that he just knows he's done. But if he's thinking about it, I do think there are certainly reasons for him and the Patriots to want to bring him back for next year.
We're talking to Patriots writer Ben Volin for the Boston Globe. And it's, by the way, the hardest beat job in the NFL because you have 3 extra games every year. It's like Kobe Bryant's postseason. But, Ben, leading into the game, everyone was talking about Edelman after the big Chiefs game. How come you can't cover Julian Edelman? I've seen there the whole first quarter, and Tony Romo was saying the same thing. Double this guy. He's so open. Why is it so tough to guard Julian Edelman?
Yeah, he's the squirrel. That's always been his nickname, and he plays like a squirrel out there. And I was surprised that the Rams didn't double team him. I think the Rams are one of those defenses where they don't want to get away from their principles, and doubling a certain receiver would have probably taken them out of their game too much. At the same time, Edelman and Brady, that doesn't happen overnight. That connection, that's something they've been working on really since 2009 when Edelman was drafted in the 7th round by the Patriots. And, in 2013, the Patriots signed Danny Amendola. They thought he was going to be the next Welker. And then Edelman just out of nowhere has his 100-catch season, and he's kept it going ever since. He's an incredibly smart and tough football player. He knows where to be. He knows how to read coverages and how to get open. He knows how to pick up yards after the catch. And with his short size and his speed and his toughness, he's a tough guy to corral and bring down. The Patriots have kind of always excelled with those smaller, undersized receivers, whether they're running backs or slot guys. Edelman's just the man. He's just really quick and tough and smart. And, if you want to double him all game, I guess the Patriots probably would have started going more to Rob Gronkowski and James White and those guys. But Edelman he's a gamer. And it's funny that he doesn't have a whole lot of regular season success. And the idea of him as a Hall of Famer, sounds kind of ridiculous. But it's picking up some buzz with how much of a gamer he is, in these playoff games and how he always comes up big in these big moments. So Julian Edelman, we might be talking about him in the Hall of Fame one day.
As often happens after a Patriots game, one of the most interesting quotes came from John Bon Jovi, actually. And he said, he had a quote to ESPN. He said, the organization is just running well these days. Tommy's getting along with Bill. Bill's getting along with Kraft. Kraft is being nice to him. It seems like they're piecing it out, and winning will do that to you. So is everybody really playing nice, or was the dysfunction from a year or two ago a little overblown?
No, I think the dysfunction was real, and Brady had an interesting quote before the game yesterday where he talked a lot about that, how they kind of sorted things out, and this year everyone's on the same page, which implies that last year they weren't. And, the whole situation with Brady's trainer and how that was affecting a lot. That was all very real. And then obviously the Jimmy Garoppolo decision as well. I definitely don't think Bill Belichick was thrilled about it, but look, it's all worked out for them in the end. They've been to 2 Super Bowls since trading away Jimmy Garoppolo, and they just won another. And Tom Brady really does look like he's going to play till he's 45. And so these are champagne problems for the Patriots to have. But I do think Belichick and Brady and Kraft, they did a good job after the offseason when Brady, he did skip OTAs. He was the only quarterback in the NFL to skip that stuff. And that was sending a message that he wasn't happy with the direction and the way he was being handled by Belichick. But these guys cleared it all up, and they came to a common sense agreement about what Brady's trainer can do and all that kind of stuff. And yeah, it seems like they're playing nice. And you saw it from Brady and Belichick all year. They're saying, I love you after the AFC Championship game. I saw the fist bump on the sideline a lot this year. It does seem like Brady and Belichick are cool now.
All right, Ben, it looked like the Patriots had this in control, but it was a 3-3 game going into the fourth quarter. Put your hypothetical hat on. You know the Boston sports media as well as anybody, the radio, the debates there. If the Patriots somehow lost this game late, how do you think the offseason would have been in Boston from your job covering the team?
I mean, it would have been certainly more disastrous, and there'd be a lot of finger pointing at Tom Brady and wondering, is he too old? Because if they had lost that game, it would have been because the offense didn't score more than 3 or 10 points. And you're not used to seeing that out of Tom Brady. And just with his age, the questions would have been inevitable. And there would have been a lot of chatter about, the Patriots, they kept Brady, but, when it comes to the big game or when it comes to the end of the season, he ran out of gas because he's too old, something like that. But he didn't. And the Patriots didn't, and they were certainly saved by their defense last night. But, yeah, obviously if they had lost 2 in a row and done it with not much offense, it would have been a tough offseason for Brady, and all eyes would have been on him about attending OTAs. Now I think no one cares. He can show up on October 29th next year if he wants to. Same with Rob Gronkowski. If they want to take the whole offseason off, I'm sure the Patriots and everyone else would probably be okay with it. But, it would be ugly, but, one win and a few plays in the game last night, it really does change everything for a lot of those guys.
Hey, Ben, thanks for getting up early for us, and veteran move by you, skipping the airport and waiting until later. Thanks a lot, man.
All right, thanks, guys.
If you missed any of the interviews, not only from today's Stellar Show, but especially from last week, you want to go back, you want to go check out the Dan Patrick Show app and hit up all of the celebrity interviews from that week, athletes. It was a pretty stellar week. It was pretty great. Check out the Mercedes-AMG Man Cave. Just go to the Dan Patrick Show app where you can watch and listen from inside the Mercedes-AMG Man Cave, Mercedes-AMG driving performance.
For more Dan Patrick Show, tune to Audience Channel 239 on DirecTV or download the Dan Patrick Show app.